The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Welcome to another GoldMine 101, our regular series of short presentations giving you hints and tips for getting the most out of GoldMine CRM. And this morning, I'm going to cover some tidying up ideas for GoldMine and introduce to you our nifty little dashboard to help you see what's going on in the system. And all of this might be a quiet time for some of us, a great time to sort things out in your GoldMine system in preparation, fingers crossed, for the return to normal trading. Hello, my name is Tim Wilmot and my company, Wizard Systems. We are a specialist CRM system supplier of GoldMine and other CRM systems who help small and mid-sized organizations improve their sales productivity, marketing, and customer service through the use of simple and affordable software solutions like GoldMine. This call will be about quarter of an hour or so in duration. It's just an overview of some of the things I'm going to chat about. If you want to explore any more assistance with your GoldMine system, we offer lots of assistance and help options. Please contact us for more information at Wizard Systems. The audio part of this presentation is one way only. If you've got any questions, please type those into the question box on your meeting control panel. Do my best to answer those at the end. I'll also at the end be giving you an update on any GoldMine product news as well, keep you up to date. This call is being recorded as well, so after the presentation, after about a day or so, you'll get an email from us or from the system with a link to recording, which you can play back whenever you want to, share with your colleagues, and we'll most likely pop it up on our YouTube channel as well. So let's get started. Quick mention about Wizard Systems, long-standing GoldMine supplier. Many of you listening live on the call already deal with us, so you'll be well aware, I'm sure, of all of the extensive service options we got, but we can provide anything around GoldMine: upgrades, implementation, customization, training as well. At the moment, we're doing all that online. Of course, we're all working from our home locations. If you're listening to this on YouTube, the date of this recording is April 2020, so we're in lockdown in the UK and we're all working from home, but we still can provide the same services as we were before, albeit not face-to-face, but we can do all of these things online, helping you with your GoldMine system, providing training for you and your staff at your remote locations. It doesn't matter where you're based. We can cover any level of training you require on GoldMine. And our help desk is still here to help you. We are working from our home locations. We're still working as a team. We have regular daily meetings to discuss support issues. So we're certainly on top of things. And if you've got any query with GoldMine, you contact our help desk via the normal support route. So let's dive into GoldMine and look at some of the things that you may contemplate doing at this time. And we did mention on our last GoldMine 101, when I was talking about lots of other ideas during this lockdown period of what to do with a CRM system like GoldMine. And I did mention spring cleaning there. And essentially in GoldMine, under your tools menu and data management, there's a whole plethora of different things you can do with GoldMine. And some of these things you can't do with many other CRM systems. Well, first of all, we've got global replace to replace values in fields with some other value, moving the furniture around in GoldMine. Merge purge, a great way of removing duplicate contact records from your GoldMine system based on the criteria you set. You can do that on the fly. You can actually run a whole deduplication process through your entire GoldMine database if you want to. Copy, move records. Move or copy records, distinction between the two, subtle distinction between the two, to another database. With GoldMine, it is possible to have multiple databases. Of course, you start off with one. I'm pretty sure that most of our customers still have one, but it is possible to create a secondary or other databases, and then from time to time move these records, maybe based on some kind of criteria of the age of the record or the records not having complete information. We can move them to another database for archive purposes. Of course, we can do mass deletions. Only a lot of these functions here, I should point out, normally only an administrator can do these. Only a master user in GoldMine can do this. So delete records, pretty standard to, pretty straightforward to remove, to remove your contact records and information related to them, their histories, if you wanted to, emails, and so on. Plenty of options in there. Territory realignment. Not many CRM systems have this, but if you have your records in GoldMine and you allocate territories or regions or areas to salespeople or groups of salespeople, and then someone leaves or someone's not there right now, you can move stuff around in that way. It's sort of similar to Global Replace, but it's got a few more bells and whistles on top of it, particularly relevant to, as I say, relevant to things attached to a user or a team. And then move linked documents. You may be familiar with the linked document feature in GoldMine, and if you're moving your GoldMine installation and the path, the link to a file is no longer valid, then we can run that routine and re-engage those links again. So quite a few options there for you to contemplate. You may be familiar with some of them or all of them, but some really powerful features there to certainly give your GoldMine system a tidy up. Now, to help you identify what might be amiss, to help to guide you into the parts of GoldMine where you might need to give a bit of attention. This is a great time. If your activity levels are a little bit lower right now, this is a great time to go back to your GoldMine system, give it a good tidy up, give it a good maintenance, so that when we're all back to our normal activity levels, you know your GoldMine system is going to be performing well for you. So what I'm showing you here is a free dashboard created by my company, Wizard Systems, and we're making it freely available to the GoldMine community. You just need to email us, support@wizard-systems.com. I'll give out the address again at the end, and we'll send you the dashboard and very simple instructions to implement it into your own GoldMine system. So let me give you a quick rundown of the things it can do for you. So as with most dashboards, we've got some tabs running across the top of the dashboard, and there may be some additional parameters prompting you for information below that. But initially, we've got this tab called Malformed Emails. We've created a little sort of algorithm in a way, eight criteria to try and establish obvious bad email addresses. For example, if you put in 2 @ symbols or no @ symbols, or an invalid character, maybe an equal sign or some other spurious character which will not make your emails go out. Spaces in an email address, it can be easily done. GoldMine will, nearly every CRM system will accept the email address as you type it in, as you import it into the system, maybe from Excel or similar. And so it's not GoldMine's fault as such, but at least we've got ways of identifying those records and doing something about it. So if the email is important for you and you're going to be doing lots of email marketing, this might be again a great time to not sort of reduce your activity levels, but maybe increase your activity levels on your communications to your partners and your customers and prospective customers. So we want to make sure the email addresses are right, of course. And just so casually looking over it, we can make sure from time to time there's no bad email addresses in the system. Right, next tab along, tables, views, customizations, and record count. Now, in GoldMine, of course, is one system, but the information you see when you click on tabs and different screens, the information is physically in a different table in the SQL database in GoldMine. So behind GoldMine is a very secure, robust, reliable SQL database. And there's normally just one database, as I was mentioning earlier, but you could have multiple databases. It is possible to do that. And within that database, there are these standard table names. And these table names, there's under a dozen of them. And they are pretty logical as regards the naming convention they use. So right at the top here, let me just describe this one. Cal, short for calendar, is going to contain all of your outstanding activities. So when you go to your activity list, when you click on the pending tab of a contact record, all of that information is in Cal. Now, it can happen with the age of a system, some of you may have been using GoldMine for many years, and some people may leave the GoldMine system. It is possible, unless you keep things up to date, it's possible that we can gather, we're collecting a lot of out of date, old calendar, old outstanding activities. And that won't hurt GoldMine. It's not going to slow the system up, but it could make reporting a little bit more difficult and the use of the system a bit more difficult. When users start using GoldMine and they start browsing around records and they see some phone calls going back to the year 2016 or earlier, whatever it might be, it can, well, you're not getting as good a use out of GoldMine as you could do. It's just really maybe extra information that is not relevant anymore. Something should have been done with these old activities. We either got to remove them or we've got to reallocate them to other users. Those are essentially the two things you can do with these old activities, old emails: remove them or move them to another user and get them done by another user. So Cal, we find, is a particularly popular, a pretty common area where we see sometimes some bloated information, lots of old activities in there. And as I say, it can easily happen when you remove users, but you don't take into account the update of their outstanding activities. So great way of seeing all of your record counts. And in this system, we've got nearly 750,000 history records. Cont.hist is history, and so on. So there's a bit of a description on the right-hand side there on what those tables or that part of the table means to you in a more logical format. Custom SQL views. Now, this is a clever way in GoldMine of doing some fancy reporting or some other operations in GoldMine. So this is going back to SQL. You can create these SQL views for doing some clever things in the system, and that's a great way of seeing those views there. Email center. Of course, with GoldMine, we've got two options on emailing. We've got the email featuring GoldMine itself. GoldMine is the only CRM system that has its own fully fledged email capability, but we do integrate with Outlook as standard. And as emails come into the GoldMine system, maybe related to what I said earlier about that cal file, that cal table, and users leaving, emails being left adrift. Maybe we want to see in this table here the email counts. How much is in the inbox? How much is in the bin? We need to clear out the bin, and so on. All of your users there. And then pending activities, again by user, username, we can see all of those activities by activity type. Something else we give you in this dashboard is the export assistant. This is something that you can't do with standard GoldMine. The ability to export via a group. So you've got a little drop-down list here of all the different groups that you've created in GoldMine. The ability to export your primary contacts and your additional contacts in one operation. You may want to do this for, again, some kind of tidying up process. You may want to do it for some marketing, possibly. We do integrate with 4 very popular email marketing solutions, so you don't need to do any exporting or importing with those integrations. But if you are linking to something that is not integrated with GoldMine, you may need to export your primary and your additional contacts, then this will do it, our export assistant via a group in the system. We've got a little reference to our website there as well, our GoldMine blog, full of hundreds of hints and tips and advice on GoldMine. And finally, we've got a little promotional item there on our archive dashboard. Basically, this is a way of archiving data out of GoldMine. It's still accessible, but viewable in a read-only GM Plus View screen. You may be familiar with the GM Plus View tab in GoldMine. So this is where, well, maybe my example, 750,000 history records. Our GoldMine system is not slow, it's really fast. But if you've got millions of records in GoldMine, GoldMine is very scalable. There's no limit. Well, the only limit with GoldMine is the limit of SQL. And Microsoft SQL is, well, it's the standard Microsoft database solution. And many companies run their other business critical applications on it, their billings, their warehouse, their website. It's a very scalable solution. So the only limit really is the limitation of SQL. But if you did want stuff to be archived off, if you did want to improve performance, if you did find on the off chance that performance was being impacted by the size of your history file, so we can go back and we can take a look at that cont hist entry there, or possibly the other one is contact one. How many primary customer contact records have you got? Well, we've just got above 3,000 in the system, so that's pretty small by GoldMine standards. Again, many of our clients have tens of thousands of contact records. No impact on their GoldMine system whatsoever. But if you do have any concerns, or if you do notice any speed degradation on maybe a slower server, we can improve performance there by archiving stuff off. It's still there. We're not removing it. We're kind of extracting it from the current GoldMine database, putting it somewhere on the side, but still allowing you to view those old emails, old histories, old contact records, and so on via that archive view. So that's a quick rundown of things to think about when looking at your GoldMine system. trying to identify the areas that could need some cleaning up, global replace, removal, archiving, and so on. Now I'd like to answer any of your questions. So if you've got any questions, please type those into the meeting control panel. Question from Robin. Do people need to be logged out when doing a global replace? Good question. We would always advise yes. You need to make sure that a lot of these operations, there's no edit undo. Okay, so when you've done it, it's happened. You can't go back. So you've got to make sure a backup is done. And this is the same with pretty much any CRM system. When you do fundamental, powerful things like replacing data, removing data, you've got to make sure there's a backup done. In reality, you can do a global replace while people are still logged in. But if someone is amending a record, the GoldMine system may skip that record and go on to the next one. So it will be a lot more efficient if you log people out. Again, that's why we're suggesting this topic area right now. Maybe during a lunchtime, maybe on a Friday afternoon, it might be a convenient time to do that. So best yes for a lot of these operations, Robin. Always check with our support if you want to doubly make sure about the process there. But yeah, good idea to log people out on those fundamental data operations. Josie, can you use global replace for removing actions? If you mean activities, that would be more the territory realignment wizard, Josie, because that will, so you've got a user called Mary. Mary has left. Mary is replaced by salesperson Fred. So the territory realignment is a way of transferring outstanding activities from user Mary to new user Fred. That's the way of doing that. So territory realignment would be the best way. Dale, we have some duplicate email records in our database, not sure how, why. How can we find and remove these? So that's not part of our dashboard as such. So these are the, I guess these are the physical emails you're referring to, not the email addresses. I will need to check with our support, Dale. I've got a record of this, so you'll hear back from us after this call. Another question from Dale. In our GoldMine program, data and database all sits on a Windows server. We have a NAS file server. Any recommendations about moving some data onto the NAS to improve overall performance? Again, I will get one of my more able technical colleagues to answer you, Dale. Another question from Dale. Is there a quickie way to fast file pending emails? We'll just right click over them and fast file. I don't think you can do it en masse. There is a way of removing outstanding emails with a user that might have left, but individual emails, you've got to right click and fast file them. Don't think you can toggle them and then fast file them in one operation. Simon, is it better to set up a new secondary database or simply use filters to access a group of records? Try and keep things in one database, I would say, Simon. Anything's going to be easier when you've got everything in one file, and then you can use fields or filters and groups to access these different sets of records. GoldMine does give you the ability to create another database and transfer records to them, but as much as possible, try and keep things in the one database would be our advice. Okay, I don't think there's any more questions coming through. Thanks very much. A quick question from Heather. When do you think you'll get the video sent out? You missed the first bit. Okay, Heather, this will go out in about a day or so time, or if you go up to our YouTube channel, you will see it posted there first of all on our Wizard Systems YouTube channel. Okay, latest news. We are providing some online GoldMine training right now. Of course, we do have a physical training center, which is with lockdown, it's kind of mothballed and gathering dust at the moment. But we're ready to start training our clients on our CRM systems that we provide, hopefully soon. But at the moment, it's all online. So if you are interested, good time to learn about new things in GoldMine. How can you do more marketing? How can you get more activity levels going in GoldMine? Great way of maybe investigating some online training at a date and time to suit you. And of course, with our online training, we can have you at different locations as well, no problem at all. Latest release, GoldMine 2019.1. We had a hot fix out in the last month or so. The next release is 2020, which is due out in May. And this will have some important email improvements in line with what Microsoft and Google are going through on the email, the OAuth security. That's all going to be introduced, making GoldMine a lot more secure than it is. Well, it's secure now, but to make the email part of it secure in line with the latest announcements from Microsoft and Google. So that's 2020. You've got to make sure you're on a maintenance contract with GoldMine to get those updates, and you can get our free dashboard. Just to reiterate that email address, support@wizard-systems.com. My colleagues on our help desk are waiting to hear from you. So we'll certainly respond to those and send out those dashboards. Dale just asked, will new GoldMine email improve IMAP? Again, we don't know exactly what the email improvements are, Dale. Closer to the time, we'll be able to run another GoldMine 101 session like this and give you a full rundown before you commit to any upgrades. So thanks very much, all of you listening live to this. Watch out for the email coming to you with a link to the recording. There's different ways of contacting us. We do have I should actually put up our YouTube channel location up there. But if you go to YouTube and do a search for Wizard Systems, you should be able to find our YouTube channel. Loads of GoldMine videos and other CRM videos up there, and QuoteWorks and so on. Loads of things up there to keep you occupied if you want something to do. And we'll catch up with you next time on the next 101, where we will be again focusing on things to do during this lockdown period. We're going to be, I think we're going to be covering an automated messaging feature of GoldMine. The latest version, or later versions of GoldMine, have got a messaging feature to alert you to things or alarms that are coming in, that are being activated in GoldMine. So when you're stuck in that shopping queue for 2 hours, at least you can be notified of important things happening in your CRM system. So that'll be messaging. So stay tuned for that. That will be in the next week or so. And we'll meet up again. So thanks very much for your time, those listening live. If you're listening to this as a recording on YouTube, thanks for watching, and we'll be back soon. Thank you very much indeed. Bye-bye.